Whew. Happy November, almost December. And today is the day that the United States has deemed as Thanksgiving, but I don't celebrate that. So I only know that or remembered that because this morning I sent a message to a colleague of mine who just traveled to Nairobi from Tanzania, and I asked her, did she make it safely and blah, blah, blah. And she sent me a message back and said, Happy Thanksgiving. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether I should thumbs down that comment, because that was my first reaction. Like, no. Or just respond and say, like, no, thank you. Um, it's such a heavy day for me because I have literally lived in Africa for 5 years. And I would say that for the most part, my time here has been steady. I've never once questioned if I was supposed to live in Africa. I've always felt good being here, felt sure that this is where I'm supposed to be. But in this last quarter of the year, this 2025, this last quarter has just been so tumultuous. So tumultuous, so um unsteady, so much uncertainty. I have to first start off by just bringing my ancestors into the room. I have called their names more times in the last maybe 3 weeks than I have in the last 6 months. So let me just acknowledge Norva Ann Bates, Imelda Serrano, Tanti Muriel Hall, Keith James, Irene James, Joyce McKenna, the Cottle family, Ronald McKenna, who's not an ancestor, but Gary McKenna, who is. I just need to call in on the energy of Oshun, Olodumare, Olokun. I feel like this last quarter living in Africa has offered a lot more twists and turns than in the entire 5 years that I've been here. For those of you who are new to my journey, my name is Goddess Queen Jamila Asata or Set, and I moved to the continent in 2020 from Atlanta. I moved out of America with a couple suitcases and my father's ashes. And when I left with my father's ashes, I didn't have any paperwork. I didn't have any documentation showing that it was my father's ashes. I just left. I didn't want to leave my father's ashes in a country that he never loved and never cared for. He never had an affinity to the country because he uh, migrated there at about 16, 17 years old. He left his country. His country is Trinidad and Tobago. And he went to America. He went to Brooklyn, New York, where he lived for a long time until he met my mother. They got married and they moved to Atlanta. And I grew up in Atlanta. And so when my father passed away in 2015, I didn't want to leave his ashes in America because he never had that relationship with America. So I brought his ashes with me when I left. And the first country, if you've followed my channel for a while, you'll know that the first country I went to was Egypt. And I went there and stayed with a um, a girl who was Egyptian. Her name is Amira, and I stayed with her and her family. They were all Egyptian, Arab, and I stayed there until um, something happened with my daughter. I don't know if I should say something happened. My daughter decided to leave America in 2020 when she graduated high school and move to the United Kingdom. She had been acting, she'd been in theater for about 10 years and really had an affinity for Shakespearean theater. So she wanted to do Shakespearean theater in its origin country, which is the United Kingdom. So she packed up her bags and said, Mom, I'm moving to the UK. But during 2020, it was the year of the pandemic, and everything was on lockdown. It wasn't really a sustainable plan. And when she moved there, they increased the lockdown. She had been there maybe a week, 2 weeks. They increased the lockdown to like a stage 5, level 5 lockdown, where you couldn't even leave the house. And so she was there, newly arrived, didn't know anybody, and she really started to go into deep depression. So even if you watch my videos, if you go back and look at my videos, you'll see me in Egypt, then you'll see me in London. So if you, um, yeah, if you've ever wondered why, it was because I left Egypt and went to London to go get my daughter. And from London, we both traveled to Senegal through Spain. And we traveled to Senegal because we were trying to get to Gambia. And Gambia was not accepting any flights. So we had to take the road to get from Senegal to Gambia. And I always say this at this part of the story, I don't know how I did all of that. I don't know how well, I know how now. I know how I did all that. I did all that through the power and the contributions of my ancestors. My ancestors have been with me every step of this journey. Um, yeah, but since going that route, it's like this last quarter, this last season of the year has just been so challenging. So challenging. And part of the challenge is just really digesting and accepting the truth. Digesting and accepting the truth. After living in so many countries in Africa, I decided to make Tanzania my home. And I came here specifically with my son because I didn't want him to be living that Lithonia life. Like, I didn't want him to be living that Lithonia life and to become a Lithonia man or boy, because a lot of these people, they don't outgrow boyhood. They stay as boys. So I got my son, and I brought my son to Tanzania because it's been a peaceful country. Peaceful, and the people are friendly, they're nice, they're kind. Food is fresh, the ocean is right here. Zanzibar is right there. I brought my son here so that he could be safe. Um, and that he could essentially fulfill his destiny and become who he was created on this earth to become. But all those things are happening, yes, and this country that I chose is like, what's happening? Many of you may know that the elections were just weeks ago. We just had elections in Tanzania weeks ago. And leading up to the elections, there was a lot of people missing, a lot of people who had been abused, a lot of opposition parties that had disappeared. Humphrey Polepole, where is he? It was a lot of sketchy stuff going on. People who were running candidates being disqualified. Yeah, Tanzania, I don't know it to have ever been in this state, and this is my first time living here through an election. So I was just, yeah, kind of going with the flow because I'm like, is this how it always happens? But I'm a guest, I'm a visitor, I'm a foreigner, and I've been living here and working, and I don't know. Tanzania was always the beacon of peace, especially in West Africa. And just with this recent election, I feel like a lot of these things this has demolished the reputation of Tanzania. Yeah, they held an election in Tanzania a few weeks back, and the people got so angry that they lit the police stations on fire and lit the polling stations on fire. Complete mayhem. And how did the government respond? By killing hundreds of people. The mama, the mama president of the country, you're a mama and you killed your sons and daughters. I was on the phone with a friend of mine. She's from here. And I had to get off the phone with her because I was just in tears. Because Tanzanians, they never deserved that. They never deserved that. My former house help was died during that time. My former neighbor, mother of two boys, she died. It gets to a point where you have to look at the truth. You have to look at what's actually taking place, what's happening around you. You have to see it. You can't unsee it. You can't hide from it. You can't duck from it. You just have to look at the truth and accept the truth for what it is, accept it for what it is. It is what it is. And it just makes me so uneasy to do that. It makes me so uncomfortable. The situation in Tanzania, what? And I feel a level of anxiety. I feel afraid. Yeah. And the fear is not necessarily that I could be hurt. The anxiety is not about me being hurt, but the anxiety is really about the state of this country and the state of this government that could do that. That could in good faith handle the situation like this. These people never deserved that. If you've ever been to Tanzania, you know that these people are some of the most passive, even passive aggressive people that exist in Africa. They don't fight, they don't argue. they don't get they don't get like that. Tanzanians are truly gentle people at the core, and they just don't deserve this. The one time that they stand up for themselves, the one time that they say no, no, wait, no, wait, the one time that they stand up and they say no, the one time, I don't want to get pissed off because I don't like people being mistreated. I don't like people being bullied. I don't like to see it. I don't, there's nothing about it that aligns with my spirit. And so the one time, yeah, they didn't deserve that. They didn't deserve that. So I have to adjust as a result of that because I'm here. I brought my son here. And I brought my son, I came here specifically because it's peaceful. I came because it's peaceful. I came because it's peaceful. And now I'm bringing my son here. And no, they say when a person shows you who you are the first time, you have to believe them, right? So I'm treating it like the country too, you know. Tanzanians deserve more. They deserve more. Greetings. So yeah, between that situation and the situation with ADDI, I'm not sure which one has me more just completely disgusted. Just disgusted. Like this ADDI situation really okay, let's pause and take it from the top. I'm not sure if you've seen recently that Ibrahim Traore doesn't want black Americans in his country, or Ibrahim Traore doesn't want to give black American citizenship. These people are saying that he decided against it um, after agreeing to it, and that's actually not true. So this is what happened. What happened is there was an organization called ADDI run by top level scammer Dr. Arikana, and she basically recruited all of these people who wanted to get citizenship in Burkina Faso and told them that they would be able to apply to her organization, become members, and through membership, they would be eligible to get citizenship in Burkina Faso. Everybody believed her because she's a public figure. You know, we see her sitting with at the leadership of Africa, so we believed her. And I'm included in that. I joined. I became a member, and from January or February until June, we thought that we would arrive in June and get sworn in June. They changed it and said not June. It's gonna be October or whatever. So we were like, okay, fine, but there was just a lot of like inconsistencies, a lot of disorganization. It's black. We know, so um we didn't fuss about that. But as October approached, there was stuff swirling around on WhatsApp about there was no confirmation about citizenship from the president. And lo and behold, they held an emergency meeting and said that we would not be able to get citizenship. We would be able to get permanent residency. And that wasn't what we were sold. That's not what we were told. You didn't sell us permanent residency. You told us we was gonna get citizenship. And it turns out that there was never any documentation, never any paperwork that was issued by the president, by Ibrahim Traore, that said that we were going to get citizenship in the first place. Where's the paperwork? For those of you who have said that Ibrahim Traore doesn't want to give Black American citizenship and he changed his mind, show me the original documentation that declared him offering it in the first place. He didn't offer it in the first place. That lady lied. Dr. Arikana is a scammer. ADDI is a scam. They lied and they told us that we would be eligible for something that was never on the table. It was never on the table. It was never being offered to us. And even though that propaganda around him changing his mind was supposed to make us it was supposed to make us feel some type of way about him. It was supposed to make us be like, oh, well, F him then or whatever. It didn't do that. A lot of people said, well, we could understand why he wouldn't want to do that. We could understand why he wouldn't want to give citizenship to Black people in America or in UK or from Canada. We understand it. But aside from that, he never agreed to that. In the first, where is the documentation that said that that was even on the table? Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. And this organization, has berated, belittled, disrespected Black people from the West. Y'all, it's been an emotional this last quarter is really trying to squeeze everything in before 2026. It has been an emotional ride for me. Give thanks and praise. No matter how emotional it gets, though, I'm not moving back to America. Y'all know. Cut the cord on that. If that was the goal, then by all means, abort the project, abort the mission, because that's never going to happen. Right? Let's be clear. never going back there to live ever again. The United States of America, every time I visit, I be like, how much are avocados? Avocados are how much? Is this real chicken? Give me a break. I don't want to die from being poisoned slowly by food every day. That's a horrible death. That is a horrible death. I'm not going to die from food poisoning in America. That bottom line. Y'all not about to, I don't care. I don't care what the political conditions are in the whole entire continent that are uh rocky and tumultuous and full of conflict. I will never flee to America to die slowly by eating poisoned GMO pesticide ridden food. You can't know that the food is poison and still be giving it to your kids like it's all like I'm not gonna do that. I can't. I'm not. That's not my choice of death. That's not my choice. Or unalivement. That's not. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Like it's been rough in Africa this last season. I went to Ghana and I was only in Ghana for like a couple weeks. Baby, prices in Ghana are giving Atlanta. It's giving Atlanta, Georgia. It's giving 404. It's giving 770. It's giving 678. What is happening in Accra? Why are y'all charging people like this? Not for nothing. This last quarter has been a challenge on the continent. Emotionally, spiritually, it's been a challenge. But one thing is for certain and two things is for sure. It's not so much of a challenge that I'm going to go back to the ghetto. I'm not going back there. I'm not going back to the projects. I'm not going back to the hood. I'm not going back to the United States of America. Oh, your mother's sick. She needs your help. Okay, let me buy her a plane ticket and bring her over here where I'm at. Because I'm not moving there. Baby, survival over there is survival of the fittest, and it's a type of fitness that I don't even want to remember that I ever knew how to execute. You could say what you want to say, So at the end of the day, I have been thinking about staying in Tanzania longer, and extending my time here. But I can't even consider that in a place where I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. And I shouldn't have to know or not know if I'm not safe saying that I don't feel safe. Oh, you shouldn't say that. I shouldn't be able to say that I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. Yeah. And it's put a rift in a lot of things in my life, even graduate school. I'm on the road to get my PhD, and the next semester is my last semester. I will have my PhD in African feminist studies in like 4 years. Yeah, like 4 years. And I just got to get it. I just got to get it because I'm tired of internet competition with people who have better visuals. Like, what? I have the knowledge, I have the skill set, I have the information. I'm studied, I'm an expert on this. I'm not going to compete with you because you found a cuter white dress and put on a headband and got sparkly crown stuff. I'm not doing it. Let's compete knowledge for knowledge. Let's compete, you know, based off the power of what we're able to offer, not how good we look in a video that has been edited. It's just getting to a point. So, yeah, this last season for 2025, thank you. Because it feels like everything has been thrown this last season to see if I can withstand. And I will say that what I've learned about myself is that I have a very like calm external presence, even in the midst of my hurricane, storm, tornado, tsunami. It doesn't matter. It's gonna be resting face. It doesn't matter. Like the sweat beads don't pop up. You'll never see the heart palpitations. You'll never see that. But it doesn't mean I'm not going through the fight of my life. It doesn't mean I'm not going through the fight of my life. I have been literally fighting. And between the ADDI thing, and just my disgust, my absolute disgust. I don't think I've ever been disgusted like this. Just shocked, appalled, disgusted. Yeah, that's it. Shocked, appalled, and disgusted. I don't think I've ever been shocked, appalled, and disgusted like this with any form of leadership in Africa in my entire life. Dr. Arikana is scum because she literally played on the emotions of Black Westerners who were trying to find a way out of the rapture that is the United States in this moment. The Trump led government that is ensuring the fall of an entire empire. You played on the emotions, the feelings, the fears. This woman would get on these calls and talk about your ancestors are calling you home and now is the time, and etc., etc. And you got people to pay you $800 per person for citizenship that was never on the table in the first place. You are a scammer. That's what we call scam. That's like selling me a washing machine for $800 and then giving me a bucket so I could put water in it and scrub my clothes to wash them. That's a scam. You scammed. We have to call spades. We have to call hearts. We have to call it for what it is. Like, y'all can come up with this, oh, but she spoke out about France. Yeah, that's why it made it easy for us to throw support behind her. It made it easy for us to throw support behind her because she literally has been talking out against these Western imperial nations. And we agree. We've seen it. We agree. But for all intents and purposes, we have to also acknowledge that Dr. Arikana is not in the same, she doesn't have the same plight that we do as Westerners, as diasporans, as those who were forcibly removed or forcibly taken hundreds of years ago and plopped down in another place and forced to adapt and survive. She doesn't have the same story. It's not the same storyline. So she does not relate. Okay? This is why I say that us as diasporans, it's not the same like when someone moves there, you know, their parents move there from Africa and they move there and they build a life in that country. Is different from those who are historically diasporan. The historical diaspora is different because the historical diaspora is those of us who were forcibly removed hundreds of years ago, who were forced to adapt in another place hundreds of years ago. So it's not the same. It's not the same. I've met a lot of my brothers and sisters, cousins and et cetera, living in UK, and their parents moved from a place and moved to the UK and they built a life. But you could go back to your grandfather's house. Your grandfather's village is there. Your grandmother's village is there. You have a home you could go back to. You got it. It's right there. You can go back. But we're talking about the people who hundreds of years later, if we tried to go back, first of all, where are we going back to? That's what we're talking about. It's different. Understand history. Understand the point. Understand the bigger picture. Ariana got a house she could go back to. She could go back to her tribe. She is not empathizing with you people. Y'all so willing to galvanize behind this woman because she's giving mammy vibes. She's giving grandmother vibes. She's giving matriarchal vibes, but she is not your matriarch. She is not your matriarch. She's part of the conglomerate, part of the group that will sell you quicker than a ice cube can melt in Memphis, Tennessee. What are we talking about? She does not share your same struggle. She doesn't share your same sentiment. And if anything, you need to beware. Beware of these people who are essentially wolves in sheep's clothing. People who know your struggle, who know your fears, who know your prayers. Beware of those who know your prayers and can use those against you. Who can manipulate you on the basis of what you pray for. You've prayed for a way out. You've prayed for a way out. And she's offering this way out. What are we talking about? Beware. She's had her ear to the pavement, listening to us, understanding the story, understanding the narrative, understanding how we feel. And then using that in her terminology to coerce and convince people to pay $800 for something that we didn't ask for. Mind you, we didn't seek her out asking her to do any of this. For people who talking about, you should be grateful. Shame on you. Shame on you. For those who, she's done so much. What has she done? She lied. She lied. She lied on the only African leader right now in a time where we have literally run out of any leader worth following, worth galvanizing behind. She lied on Ibrahim Traore and said that he offered citizenship, and he never did. There was never any paperwork, never any documentation, nothing to confirm that. Nothing. Baby, at this point, y'all might find me in Bali, living in the rest of my life in Bali. Bali been calling me anyways, or Malaysia. I might find me living my best life in Thailand. Get my little place and call it a day. With my retirement home in Cape Coast, Ghana. And you have to know yourself well enough on your journey to know when it's time to pivot, when it's time to reorganize yourself, when it's time to do something different, step into a new layer, look around, see what else is available. You have to know yourself well enough to know when the time is to do all of that. and I'm in the thick of that year, you know. This year is like my regeneration year or rebuild year, something like that. Is a very specific time for me where I'm regenerating, I'm rebuilding, I'm making up with my nervous system. It's just, my gosh, my goodness, this chapter, this chapter. And I can admit, for the last December was okay, but the December before, same kind of tension. The end of the year tension be really coming in heavy for me. My year could be 100. End of the year, they be like, let's squeeze everything in. It's almost December. Let's squeeze it in. So I know it's been a while since I was on live, but I'm here right now, and I have in fact recorded an audio for you. And the audio is um the audio is accessible by WhatsApp. So if you want to get the audio, you can text me +1 404 519 1472. That's +1 404 519 1472. And yeah, it's a much needed message. It's for Black women only. You know, I work with women. I want to make sure I look at my notes to see if there's anything else. But aside from that, I will see you next time. Peace.